Doug, get away from it.
It's fine. Nothing's happening.
God. What did I just say?
Hello, welcome to Science in the Apocalypse with Rob and Doug.
I'm over here.
He's over there. Today,
Put the camera on me, proof I'm existing.
Oh, jeez.
Hello.
Today, we're going to talk to you about how to make booby traps. We're going to demonstrate a booby trap. Everybody knows what a booby trap is. So I feel like
Booby.
we're going to show you how to scavenge the materials to make them. I've got actually quite a few things set up here. We'll go over that in just a second. But before we get to that,
Just making sure we're social distancing. Hold on. Oh. There it is.
before we get to that, do not replicate what we are doing at home or anywhere else. We're professionals. We know how to do this. We know the safest way to take care of this stuff.
Professionals.
That's the Rob stick. This is Science in the Apocalypse. All right, so before we begin making a booby trap, we first need to understand how a booby trap is made. I've got a couple of things laid out here I want to go over with you. We're going to be focusing on a simple tripwire mechanism. And to create that, I've got a clothespin here. Thank you, Rob. Very nice. We're going to wrap the top and bottom with electrical wire. We're going to put an insulator in between the wire, and that's going to be tied to our tripwire. When the tripwire is triggered, the circuit will close, and that'll complete the electrical current.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get a light or something else.
Something lights up, yeah. So we got our string and our clothespin for that mechanism. The second most important part of this is electrical wire itself, and a source of power for the wire. Rob, can you pass me that 9-volt?
Yeah, sure, Doug. Whoops. Whoops.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So,
You're welcome, Doug.
thank you. So,
Thank you.
get out of here. Get out of here. We have our source of power. We've got our wire. I've got some alligator clips to help me hook everything together.
What's that?
This is steel wool. When you drag 9-volt or apply current across steel wool, it ignites. More on that later, I'll show you. And then we've got some matches here to burst into flames. So, just to give you a demonstration of everything, we wrapped some steel wool around, a thin strand of steel wool around a match. I don't know if you can see it there. All right, bring it in. We're gonna demonstrate the electrical ignition. Are you ready? Here's some sparks.
I'm helping over here.
Those aren't sparks. Ta-da!
You gonna tell the good people of the internet what you're doing?
Well, we've got the Kanthal. Touching my finger. We got the Kanthal wrapped up here in our coil. Our battery is off to the side here. And that's all headed over here to our switch. Switch is going to send a live charge through this wire that we're going to connect to our Kanthal. And that's going to ignite some flash powder that we made just a moment ago. Deep breath. And let it go. Okay.
It's 200 grams of flash powder.
Rob's gonna social distance and activate the trigger.
Ready?
Ready.
There's no way to disengage this safely. You know that, right?
Yep. Unless you want to throw a rock at it.
Oh my god.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna stop the footage.
Nope.
You need to stay away from that.
I know.
You need to put something on your hands.
I can make a new hand.
That's a terrible... Oh my god. Get away from that. Get away from it.
Fine.
Doug, get away from it.
It's fine. Nothing's happening.
God.
Okay, so we're gonna take a closer look at what happened. So
It didn't go off.
Yeah. And what are you doing here, Doug? You're getting in there. Get involved.
I really thought it would be a good idea to take a look at it. I wanted to see if it worked.
And then boom, smoke.
Yeah, it definitely worked.
That's when we know it's about to go off, and we're getting really nervous.
Mm-hmm. Because we can't disarm it at this point.
Yeah. Here comes the first spark. We're gonna slow it down for you.
Boop. There it is. All right.
Notice how we don't react.
Just staring into the sun.
This is why explosives are so dangerous. Oh, here we go. There's a mushroom cloud for you. Oh, man. We almost died.
That was crazy. So, welcome back to the lab.
Finger guns.
Yeah, the safest gun you can own. Hey.
Hey, watch where you're pointing at, Danny.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Good.
All right. So, we learned a lot today.
We made some changes to our initial setup because we were not successful. We set out to show you how to do it when we didn't even know all the things to do.
In the end, we did, I think, 34 different renditions before we found a system that actually worked.
The one that worked was number 35.
Was it 35?
35th.
And it worked
with an FTH.
It worked consistently enough to actually light flash powder.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. So you saw we had the flash powder, and there was an aggressive reaction there. We did enough testing to really come to the conclusion that it was ready to move on to the next phase, which was explosion. So the changes that we made. First off, we would.
Well, the things that we learned, firstly...
The switch.
Yeah, the switch needs to be further away from the reaction.
It needs to be in a safe, reachable distance if you're going to be testing it.
Yeah. We weren't able to disarm it once it was going, and it wasn't going.
Oh my god.
So we had to finagle with it, and then it went sort of spontaneously, and we had to run away. So
we ran away. That was crazy. But we changed up the battery. Initially, we had a 9-volt battery. We kicked it to the curb and instead opted for 4 AA batteries. They should be a little easier to source in the apocalypse, I think.
And we did them in
series. We hooked them up. So that's
lined up.
Positive to negative, and positive to negative, positive to negative, positive to air, and then you connect it from there. We instead of
6 volts and 1500
milliamps. Yeah, which is delicioso.
It worked really well. It was able to bring our coil up to probably, what do you think, 500 degrees?
God, it was hot. It was red hot.
Yeah,
definitely hot. We instead, speaking of the coil, we got rid of the coil of steel wool and opted instead for a coil of Canthal, which is a resistance wire.
Yeah, commonly found inside of vapes, so it is sourceable.
Yeah. I mean, especially nowadays, everybody's got a vape. You know, if it's not Canthal, it's nichrome, and they both do the trick. Another thing we learned was the contacts needed to be insulated from the ground, not necessarily the ground of the battery, but the ground itself.
Any exposed wire, if it touched the ground, it lost power.
Gone. Yeah, just out.
And then the batteries start overheating and the whole thing fails.
Yeah, we lost too much power from it.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. I mean, we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of frustration. We were getting quite frustrated. Yeah, we literally did 34 experimental trials before we found a system that worked, and
then we had to tweak that one.
Yeah. So this is not an easy thing to do.
No,
it really is not.
No. It seemed so simple initially, and we had it working initially, but we were not prepared to meet the challenges that we were faced with.
Not at first. We didn't know exactly what we were doing. I mean, no one's done this kind of thing before, I don't think. So.
Not that I've seen on camera, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways. Thank you for coming along and watching our videos. We appreciate your consistency.
Yeah, thanks for watching us, and thanks for dealing, what is the word? Putting up with our social distancing. And,
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few moments where we failed our social distancing because we got too excited about things happening, but
I mean, we sort of work together,
yeah.
so it's
Yeah, we're always together anyway, and in the restaurant industry, we can't put any gaps really between us. Plus, we kiss on all the time, you know, on the lips.
on the lips.
Yeah, so.
Anyways, make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Don't, like we said at the beginning, don't do this at home.
Yeah.
Please, don't do this at all. This is Science in the Apocalypse.